All right, so today I'm going to teach you a very powerful awareness hack, which is going to allow you to bypass the suffering of your lower mind, that strong identification with this worldly self, and just allow you to live blissfully on a higher state of consciousness. Let's go. This is called the power of being nobody. So in our Western world, I'm not sure if you've realized, but you pretty much have because it's inundated in your face 24/7. You are being pushed into a certain narrative 24/7. You're never taught your inherent power. You're never taught about your spiritual energy meridians and channels which you can activate to experience reality from a different sphere and different dimension. So you have to ask yourself, why is the information that is the most potent, the most powerful, the most conducive to my attainment in a physical, spiritual, mental, psychological sense being kept away from me? So once you really start to understand the conspiratorial aspects, meaning the mechanisms of control, how the ruling hand, they, whatever you want to call it, the bloodlines, purposefully trip humanity up to keep them in a cycle of illusion. Like, it's just illusion. They have no power over us. The power that they have over us is the power that we grant them. And we grant them power through our ignorance. But that's for another story. In this video, I really wanted to touch on how your power comes from not being identified with the worldly persona, like whatever your name is, and just the general narrative they try to push humanity into. Disclaimer, I'm not telling you to sit back, be aversive, just not take life seriously and just run away from your problems. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I am saying is that the true power is to realize that you exist multidimensionally, that your being is not limited to this, and hence that empowers you. It breaks down the entanglements of the ego, which keep us in a state of suffering, which keep us in a state of comparing ourselves, judging, labeling ourselves and others. You diminish that, and then you bypass these games. I love using that word bypass because we're not in resistance with these things. We're not fighting these things. To empower yourself means to bypass, to transcend these small conceptions and pretty much boxes that they've put upon us. So with that being said, when you're out and about, the power of being nobody merely is that you can interact with anyone. There aren't any positionalities that you've confined yourself to. Because remember, when you walk around and in your head, you're thinking, well, I don't like these people. I like these people, but I don't like these people. Do you know that when you don't like something, you are still feeding it energy? So you are literally attracting it into your sphere. Quite literally. This is the game of metaphysics, the game of vibration. It doesn't distinguish between that which you want and don't want. If you are thinking about it, you are vibrating at that frequency, and hence you're going to be attracting things of a corresponding energy. So what the power of awareness does, and the power of being nobody, when you really grasp how infinite your awareness is it diminishes all of those lower thought forms. And those lower thought forms are just programs. They're just programs of disunity, you seeing people as separate from you when we are all one and the same. Look at my eyes. What do you see? You see you. I see you when I look into other people's eyes. Like, you see self, you see the everlasting power that powers everything in creation within my eyes right now. It's in animals, it's in other people, it's in the plants, it's everywhere. This is what we call self. All is self. However, things are all the same but different, and hence that's the beauty in creation itself. But let me not get too deep into that one. When you're walking around and you're non-identified, you are literally allowing everything into your sphere. But that comes with a level of discernment. Of course, you're not going to be engaging with everyone, but you're opening up your heart center to be able to see things from that person's perspective, or see things from the perspective of an individual who you wouldn't necessarily be in contact with. And that's what gives you those crazy spikes in awareness and consciousness. Because to truly be conscious, to truly be quote unquote enlightened, is to essentially sit right at the top and everything really just is. Because really and truly, you don't understand, I don't understand, none of us really understand the totality of this whole experience, because we cannot. The human mind is too limited in its capacity to understand divinity. Divinity always was, always will be. It was there before me, it was there before religion, it was there before culture, it was there before language, finances, commerce. Divinity always was. And hence we cannot understand, given our 20, 30, 40 years in this realm, we cannot comprehend the totality of it all. So the best thing you can do is to disassociate yourself from the worldly ego, like the worldly identity. Like, and it's very hard to put this into words because high level consciousness is beyond language. This whole realm is beyond language. Language is just a tool for convenience that we've invented to be able to communicate ideas. That's all. So language is very messy when you're trying to convey high level consciousness. But stay with me. When you're walking around and you're non-identified, I'm gonna give you my personal experiences now. As you ascend in levels of consciousness, so does your spiritual frequency. Like, I'm at a point now where, for instance, if I relapse on semen retention, give it a couple of days, I feel like I'm on 50 days retention. I feel like I'm on 100 plus days. Like, your spiritual frequency will rise, as you continue to climb in awareness and consciousness, so will your spiritual frequency. And that comes with a level of power. There's this, like, each level of consciousness has a respective level of power. As you go up, that power increases. So that means the ability to be non-identified, the ability to walk around and be a quote unquote nobody it's not really a chore. You don't have to engage any mental or cognitive processes. It just is. Like, you just really, you see the worldly identity for the facade that it is, for the game that it is. So you're not aversive to it. You're not condemning people who are deeply entangled in it. You just see it for the illusion that it is. And hence you can smile about it. You can, like, be lighthearted about this whole show. Like, have you ever seen most enlightened beings? They're just big kids. Like, they're just big children. They don't take things very seriously. They they have an aura which is open, loving, accepting, and they operate from the crown. They operate from the conception of self. So that's the power. The power is to be able to be all-inclusive, all-loving. That doesn't mean that you have to accept everything into your sphere. Spirituality really makes you fearless, because you really start to not only be accountable, but you really discern who and what you let into your sphere, into your energy. So with that being said, people, the power really is yours. The power is here with our awareness. You have the capacity to think about anything. Like, look, if I close my eyes right now, right? I'm thinking about my house in the Bahamas. Beautiful fruit trees everywhere. Living off the land. Beautiful clear skies, blue water. You see, I've just closed my eyes and I'm envisioning it. How is it that I've got the capacity to think about anything? It's the power of your awareness. So when you understand that you have the capacity to, you have the tool, like the mechanism by which to experience whatever reality you want, that's your power. But with that being said, let me finish off the video like this. You see, we know all of these different spiritual principles and ways of interacting with reality. But one thing that most people don't talk about is the fact that we are all heavily programmed. We're all heavily conditioned. A lot of us have dysfunction, trauma, pain, heartbreak, things going on at home, things going on at work, spiritual attack. So yes, we know the mechanisms by which to change our reality, but part of it is also healing. Part of it is also going back, as arduous as it is, going back. And that's what the universe will do. The universe will throw you similar scenarios to see how much you've grown, to see whether you're going to react in the same way. So I say all that to say this: the power really is yours, but it's a two-part way to regain that power. It's the disconnection from the worldly self, and then it's also the application of these different spiritual principles, which are all rooted in non-attachment. Not detachment, which is kind of like aversive and fuck the world, but non-attached, still loving, fully participating in the game, fully seeing it for the divinity that it is, but not getting yourself too deeply entangled in Maya, the world of illusion, we call it. Guys, hope that's made some sense. It's about to hit 10 minutes. The power really is yours. There's huge power in being a quote-unquote nobody, because that way there's nothing to defend. There's no rigid positionality to have to protect. You're fluid. You're like water. Bruce Lee once said, be like water. And that way you're just flowing, right? But still with a vision in mind, still with a certain trajectory that you wish to achieve. Guys, high-level consciousness isn't easy to explain. I did my best. Hope you've enjoyed the video. Guys, peace and power, love and light. And I'm going to see you in the next one.